We are producing film capacitors for power electronics. I'm responsible for the operation department, guiding the activities for production, engineering, customer service, and facility management. We decided to look into theory of constraints in order to enrich the toolbox that we have in our company. We approached Marris Consulting to learn the basics about the theory of constraints applied into production and use them to improve the performance of our production and really contribute to the improvement of the company. Marris Consulting offered us a training program for our managers. We got the concept of theory of constraints and the 5 basic steps in order to learn how to manage our bottlenecks, identify bottlenecks, how to exploit the bottleneck once it is identified, how to subordinate the system to the bottleneck, how to elevate the constraints, and the last step, to review again the system, to reevaluate the system and identify the new bottleneck in the organization. We decided to start applying them to really improve our performance in production. In the training, I think that one of the key concepts that we learned is that the system has to be subordinated to the bottleneck. We also learned that the WIP that we have to keep in our production should be at the level the bottleneck is demanding, and we don't need more and we don't need less. Controlling the WIP in production is really a key factor on applying the theory of constraints in a proper manner. The first step was really to bring down our WIP and to establish a well-defined and well-controlled buffer just before our bottleneck. We also learned with the training from Marris Consulting a very sophisticated tool, which is the 2-for-1 rule, which was exactly the starting point of our activity after we finished with the training. Our working process was extremely high, much more than needed. So we applied the 2-for-1 rule by reviewing in our weekly production plan the quantity of new production orders that we were introducing in our factory based on the number of production orders we were able to finish and deliver to the warehouse. By means of that, we were able to reduce our working process by almost 30%. Automatically, our throughput time was also reduced by 20% as well. The WIP, the working process we had in our front end, and we applied the 2-for-1 rule here, and we came down to this level. This is because we were affected by the summer break. So we fixed our level here after 10 weeks, when we were able to reduce this working process by 30% and the throughput time by 20%. We decided not to continue applying the 2-for-1 rule because we wanted to stabilize the WIP and the throughput time also at the level we achieved, in order to consolidate the achievements and to ensure that the organization was really absorbing and digesting the concepts and also the results. We wanted to keep ourselves in this position with a little increase of capacity. And here, this is 2021, we doubled our capacity, which was put on hold in this period of time. So we were running the production with full capacity, and then this is the buffer. In 2021, the business environment was quite positive for our industry. So we had the need of expanding our capacity. The first target was really to utilize as much as possible the existing installed capacity. Then we decided to invite Marris Consulting to visit us and to help us on preparing a diagnosis of our operations to identify potential areas to squeeze our capacity more and to improve the efficiency of our bottleneck and to expand our production further. We had to put efforts on solving the capacity constraint in our assembly process by assigning more resources there and shifting the bottleneck to our winding process, which is the first process in our production. And we took actions following the advices that we got in order to tackle the weaknesses that were detected. And I must say that the actions that we implemented were really successful, and the areas of improvement that Marris Consulting highlighted indeed were the key factors for us to improve the OEE of our winding process. Now we are monitoring and controlling this process because it became the bottleneck of the organization. At the end of the day, the constraint in our company came from our supply chain. And this is something that now is one of the topics that it is on our table. Marris Consulting participated in our daily meetings during the days they were visiting us, and they suggested some changes in order to improve the effectiveness of those meetings. And as a result of that, also we changed our concept of daily meetings, and we implemented a cascade system of daily meetings, starting from shift leaders to supervisors and from supervisors to managers, escalating the topics and escalating the difficulties depending at which level those problems has to be solved. We have realized how effective those meetings are nowadays and how much they are helping us to get the maximum out of our bottleneck. Our experience with Marris Consulting has been extremely positive. The training we got in 2020 helped us very much on improving our performance, and the diagnosis in 2021 contributed also to identify some weaknesses in our production, in our processes. It helped the organization to move forward. So it was very positive.